Before we start today's video, check out our affiliate links in the description down below. These can make some great gifts with the holiday season just around the corner, or even a gift for yourself. It supports the channel at no extra cost of you. Thanks so much. May the force be with you, and enjoy the video.
Hello there.
This is where the fun begins.
What's up guys, Unofficial Star Wars here. Hope you're all doing well, and in this video we have some new replies and some new responses from the directors of Star Wars Outlaws. We're gonna go ahead, we're gonna hop right on into it, break it all down for you guys, everything that we know and everything that we're anticipating right now. Before we do though, however, grab that subscribe button if you haven't already, as we're discussing and covering all types of Star Wars related news, leaks, rumors, theories, and breakdowns here on the channel. So if you guys are into any of that, go ahead and grab that subscribe button today. Okay, so in this video we are going to be taking a quick read from one of my favorites out there, StarWarsNewsNet.com. I'll have their article linked in the description down below for you guys to check out there, as well as an overall garnering source. So as I had mentioned briefly in our prologue there, Star Wars Outlaws, the directors have recently taken to respond to the middling review scores, a lot of the fan-based discussions revolving around the recent Star Wars Outlaws, as it just finally has come out just this last week, discussing plans for the future content and also what they want to add to this game in future updates of Star Wars Outlaws. I think it goes both in and out though, with what they want to do to Star Wars Outlaws and what they would also want to do for future Star Wars games if given the chance. So, Massive Entertainment developers Julian Geraghty and Matthias Carlson had recently sat down with GamesRadar.com to talk about for somewhat underwhelming critical response to Star Wars Outlaws, as well as their plans for future content. With the game releasing just last week, Geraghty had remarked that he was a little disappointed regarding the game's critical reception, especially from the fans. However, Geraghty and Carlson have emphasized that they're still working on improving the game, not just with future updates like DLCs essentially, but bug fixes is a big complaint and a big thing that they really need to focus on. So, last week, we were one of the many reviewers who gave Star Wars Outlaws a relatively okay score of a 6.5 out of 10 from StarWarsNewsNet.com. They had praised the game for its presentation and how it brought the Star Wars galaxy alive, but the frustration was the game's underbaked action and the stealth mechanics. I think that's a perfect way to describe it based off of what I've seen and what I have heard, simply describing the action sequences in this game as underbaked and just very underwhelming at that. Like, especially if you're a fan of any other Star Wars game that's much more higher, fast-paced action sequences like Star Wars Battlefront or Star Wars Jedi Survivor and Fallen Order, really any game I think out there inside and out of the Star Wars franchise, it's much more fast-paced and a lot more going on. So really that in itself had a lot of fans kind of just disappointed with that, let alone, and as I'd also mentioned, a lot of bugs going on with the game. So the creative director, Julian Geraghty, had replied and responded to the lower than expected Metacritic scores, but also said that many are still enjoying what the game has offered, which is very true. There's a very equal side to it. There's a lot of people that have those critical replies and responses and what they need to do to improve Star Wars Outlaws, and people that are just happy to have it and enjoying the game for what it is, really, I think, at that. And that isn't to say that people that don't like the game are hating on its story or its characters or anything of that nature. They're just simply critiquing and criticizing the game itself, the game mechanics, how the game runs, all the little critical things like that, little technical things, I think, like that. He says that there, though, in quote, "I am a little disappointed with the Metacritic. Recognition from the critics is very important to us, but I do think that players are really connecting with what we have done here." Ending that quote right there. And as I had mentioned, very perfectly worded, the fan reception, it goes 50-50. I think there's a lot of people that have enjoyed the game for what it is and have just been playing it and enjoying it for what it is, but then there's also the other side of fans that are kind of disappointed with the actual gameplay itself, the game mechanics, and the technical side of things as well, is where we need to see those improvements for Star Wars Outlaws. The director continues, even addressed some of the criticisms about Star Wars Outlaws, including the game's sometimes punishing stealth sections. He also states that the team is continuously looking at data for areas where the game needs to be tweaked and fixed with its bugs especially, saying that they're, in quote, "One of the many things that we can see through the data is that elements aren't working as well as we would like them to. One of the earliest missions in Myrogana is incredibly punishing, and for me, that is a mistake, and it's something that we're going to work on improving." With the faction district that you're going through on that mission, there is a sort of tension that we wanted to create, of course, but we don't want it to feel unfair at the same time. And today, we think it feels unfair, and believe it or not, that was not our intention. This realization is something that has crept in the last week or so, and it's something that we're correcting already for a patch update that's coming out maybe in the next 10 days or so. And leave that quote right there. It's great to hear, great criticisms, great critiques, and a great response to it. They're getting those critiques, they're getting those criticisms, and they're looking at it and like, yeah, we're going to fix that. And especially on a timely manner as well is something all the more, and something that a lot of fans out there are definitely going to be so hyped for and super excited for, just to be cared about. I think is really what it boils down to, is that they're being listened to, they're being heard, and that is something just in the entertainment industry inside and out, whether it's for a movie, a show, a game, whatever the case may be, is something I find kind of rare, especially when you have these big studios and these big mega corporations, billion-dollar corporations. They don't necessarily always care about the fan feedback and kind of just push it through and make the money that they can from it and on to the next, essentially. They're really taking some care into it, and I think that in itself is super appreciative and something that a lot of fans are really going to love. The game director, Matthias Carlson, had also chimed in and discussed why the stealth was implemented in the first place, as he had also added that the team is considering making changes to these systems. And with what that is, like, the stealth kind of mechanics to the game need improvements. Like, you'll be hiding and, trying to be sneaky, and you still kind of get sorted out by the Imperials and by the enemies. It's something that has a lot of fans frustrated out there. It's just too hard. The game is too hard is kind of what it boils down to. Now, he says that there, in quote, "We believe that giving players the opportunity to have stealth approaches fits the scoundrel fantasy really well, and we think if stealth wasn't a part of the experience at all, it would be a very one-note game overall. It affords us a lot of width and variety in the context of our quests, and we don't raise the alarm quest specifically. What we were reaching is for there isn't to fail on the detection. It's implemented in places like the Imperial Space Station, where you wouldn't want a whole lot, the whole station to be on alert. So we think that is an intuitive fail state for the game mechanics. We really tried to create that fun suspense zone where it could tip all the way into the failure zone, where you have many ways of dealing with the situation. However, if that turns out to just not connect with what's its current turning with enough people, then it's something that we take very seriously, so we'll consider changing it as well. Ending that quote right there. This year all being said, it's honestly nothing but good news, it feels like, for Star Wars Outlaws. I know that the first week has been quite shaky for the game from the fan reception. Not a lot of fans have been really enjoying it all that much, and that really boils down to the mechanical, technical side of things for the game mechanics and the gameplay itself, and it's something that's totally fixable. This year all being said, guys, let me know all of your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below. I would love to hear what you guys are all thinking. Thanks so much for watching today's video. Of course, this has been Unofficial Star Wars. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Have a great one. May the Force be with you as always. Peace out.